I love Hallmark films, and generally I'm really easy to please, but Love Classified was really boring. It's basically a glorified anthology, and if you like that kind of thing, then it might appeal to you. But I found this to be really tedious. This was released in 2022. It's directed by Stacey and Hardin and written by Lynn Sternberger, and it stars Melora Hardin as Emilia Bloom, and she is mostly a very boring character. I wouldn't say she's an unlikable character. I didn't dislike her, but for the most part, I found her to be very dull. And that's a shame because she's a writer and I'm a writer, and usually I can connect with those kinds of characters, but I found her to be mostly boring. As I said, I didn't dislike her, and there's nothing wrong with the performance. Nobody's performance was bad in this, but the narrative is just all over the place. And as I said, it basically feels like an anthology. And obviously, their stories do intertwine, largely because Emilia is connecting or trying to reconnect with her grown up children. And it's about all of these different characters' relationships. And yes, the film does a good job of showcasing different kinds of relationships, and certainly relationships in this decade. But at the same time, it's just scattered. I didn't emotionally connect with any of the characters. And because we're jumping back and forth, I never really felt like I cared about any of their relationships. Not that I wanted them to all fail in their relationships. I never had any negative feelings about any of them. I simply did not care. And the narrative structure is just appalling. And the pacing is really bad. Well, the pacing is consistent, but nothing happens. And then things seemed like they were going to start to get interesting. About half an hour into it, something happens with Emilia, and I thought, okay, the narrative's going to have a much more pleasing structure from now. We're going to have a clearer direction, and things will start to come together. And while that happened a tiny bit, it was still completely all over the place. And unfortunately, even though it does not take a lot to impress me with a Hallmark film, it does not take a lot for a Hallmark film to make me smile, Love Classified was terrible. It is not a good film. It's not a good narrative. Maybe if you like the anthology approach and you like to have 1,001 characters and you like that kind of snapshot of different people's lives, then maybe it'll appeal to you. Different lives that come together, I should point out. They're not completely disconnected, but the coming together of these different relationships and characters was not quick enough, was not done smoothly or succinctly enough, and I cannot say that Love Classified was a good story. I cannot say the characters were good. For me, it offers nothing. I did not enjoy it, and very, very unusually for me and a Hallmark film, I do not recommend it.